Hey everybody. Yeah, another journaling video. I was reorganizing these a few nights ago, and I got a lot of those. And I just noticed some things. Of course, looking through them, I found some old photos and funny stuff. But yeah, anytime's a good time for scritches. Ah, buddy. Yeah, he's liking the camera again, eh? Anyway, yeah. So, this was my first journal. Yeah, like I said before, I was a Lord of the Ring fan. Still am. It's a great book and movie and stuff. So this was just a book I picked up and started to write in. My sister was writing in a journal, and I thought it was, a good way to put stuff down. Was going on in my head. So I started up with just a random book I had, and then I bought some others. I think I got them from Staples in Canada. I think the brand is Blue Line. Basically, I don't remember why I chose them. Of course, I did cover them. This was covered with a funky fabric I had later on when I started making my own books. So yeah, and basically I would write, I guess, bigger pages, which is weird because most of my journaling, I guess, years, I always remember writing in smaller moleskins. But I actually started in pretty big books. But mostly back then, I only wrote. I didn't draw that much in them. And as you can see, I tried a few different books. Let me just think. And right here is the first one I actually made. Yeah, I used old leather coats that I got from a thrift store. You can get them really cheap. I guess it's a good way to get some leather for beginners project. I'm sitting on the couch here. I don't have a real table. Yeah, everything was, these were the leather coats, cuffs. I didn't use, sewing or anything. It was all made with glue. So, and this was an early attempt at book binding. I had to poke a hole here because the inside was opening up, but I still did a pretty good job. Of course, the front is not as good looking because this is quite a job. I did get better and made some that where you actually need to cut all this before you whack the back so it becomes round. And without proper tools, it's kind of a job. So anyway, I started making my books. Now, I must not lose the order that I put them in because it took me all night. And I still haven't finished my registry. You see, at this time, I bought myself a plank of wood. So I made a few out of wood. This up, just check. Yeah, they're actually wood and leather. And this 2004. This is when I bought my first typewriter. That I have absolutely no idea what I've done with it. Oh, there's a little garden design, I guess. Oh, there's still some of that is there actually. Sorry about that. So yeah, I typed everything in this one. This was pretty fun. And of course, I had to find after a way to bind all this paper. This one I remember, I tried something with old leaves. Looked good for a few years, but I guess as the leaves really dried, the varnish I put on top is starting to crack. But We're still in 2004. Now this one, I remember, this is actually kind of funny. You see how small I write? And look how it ends. This was a big journal, and I was really anxious to finish it because I had made what is still my favorite journal ever that I made. Basically, it's age paper in tea, and you know, I just love, it's a suede, again from a coat. I just love the way this one looks. I didn't bother to trim the front of it because, you know, it kind of makes it look even older. Yeah, this was my favorite. This one, I tried something else with, you know, the binding going into the cover, and this was an H paper. And again, some, get on my knees, some leather. This one is actually I guess the one I made that is the most, I want to say perfect, but as you can see, it's not perfect at all. But I did trim the paper before rounding it, and you know, it's actually beautiful leather. And this one again was a kind of a mammoth, but it was a pain to write in because it was so thick. So this is, I guess, I think a little bit more as far as I went before changing and making myself another one and another one. And for some reason I stopped making them. Let me check why. 2008. I don't know, maybe I was working. Oh yeah, I was working a lot back then. Quite a lot. And I guess I didn't have much time to make books. So I just covered them. I bought them and I covered them. This one is made with scraps I had, I guess. Yeah. I think this one was actually when I started back then and never finished. So ended up finishing it. So after that I bought books and books. And then just get a sip of coffee. Yeah, I still haven't taken down the Christmas decorations. It'll be probably this weekend. So this is where the transition happened, 2011. I was wearing scrubs at work. So I kept, as you can see, this one is upside down. So there's a lot of paper at the end that aren't glued. I'm gonna do that before storing them. So what I would be doing was just taking a few pieces of paper, folding them, and putting them in my front pocket of my scrubs. And you know, when I had the time during a break or you know, anytime, I would write a little bit. And then I guess this one I upgraded a little bit. I made signatures which are, let me just, you see, signatures are little packs of paper that you bind together to make a book. So the idea was to write in the signatures and afterwards bind them. And as you can see, it's been 10 years and I still haven't done it. But I'm gonna do it this year again before storing it. Probably nothing fancy like that, just something, yes, buddy, something quick and easy. And then I went into, I guess, pocket format. These were actually dollar store books. Really good paper. These were actually a pretty good find. And funny thing is that you couldn't find any of them over here because I bought them all. Yeah, this is not just, I have like 3 times that are still not written in them. I literally bought every one I saw every time I went to the dollar store because they're just so good and they were really cheap. They were like $2 or $1. No, back then, dollar store only sold $1 items. So these were $1. And you know, compared to to a moleskin that was, I think this one was around $20 when it came out in Canada. But still, you know, it's a pretty little book. And back then, moleskin actually had pretty good paper. So, you know, all my moleskins, I don't know why I switched, because like I said, I have a lot of those. Could be something as stupid as changing uniforms, and these wouldn't fit as well. But I remember carrying one of these in my back pocket, like in my jeans, for a long time. Because I did write less and less. And I did write smaller, a lot smaller than the bigger ones I had there. So, oh, there you go. Okay, yeah, that's the last one. That's actually last year I started writing back again. Okay, yeah, there's the small and bigger. This is when I got back into journaling, as I was saying. Yeah, last year when I got back into journaling, this wasn't big enough anymore, because I gotten out my fountain pens, and they were writing a little bit too thick for me to write as small as I used to. And I guess, you know, this says 2017, but for like 2 or 3 years before that, I would write like maybe 10 entries a year, mostly just to recap on what had happened. And yeah, I don't know if it's got a link or anything, but that's when, you know, my mental health, I guess, started going a little down, you know. Might have been other things too, I don't know. So I got back into journaling last year, because basically I got way much more time on my hands, COVID and all that stuff. And I bought myself this is a Moleskine XL, but it had been quite a few years since I had written into a Moleskine, and sadly, Moleskine's paper is not as good as it used to. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that there's lines in there, and I used to write in blank Moleskines. But you know, if you just casual writer and write with I don't know, gel pens or stuff like that, Moleskines are all right. But if you like many fountain pens and many fountain inks, then Moleskine is not good enough anymore, sadly. As you can see, the only pen I could write in was my TWSBI Mini, which had back then an extra fine nib. And this is Noodler's Turquoise. It was the only one that didn't feather or do stuff, but it did bleed through a lot. So, ended up dumping this Moleskine because, you know, I had still like a few months of bad writing and, you know, kind of swearing every time I wrote. So I jumped into a Stalogy. Stalogy usually have a black cover. I made this one. Maybe later I'll do a little video. This was a test, by the way. It's not perfect at all. It's crooked on the top and there's too many stamps. But I actually made this because I picked up a few, I don't know, a few skills. Actually, this is what I want to make. A little, I guess, canvas bag. Ended up making canvas covers. So, but yeah, this is what I want to make in 2021. So basically you can write any ink, any pen in a Stalogy. It does, I guess, ghost a little. Not sure if you can see. Minimal ghosting. I don't mind it because what I like is the amount of pages you get with a Stalogy, which is awesome, you know. And it's why my current journal is still a Stalogy. And yeah, so I guess I'm back to writing in bigger books. like almost like when I started off. Yeah, a lot of babbling on and on. Hey, buddy. Buddy's there. He's got his chair. And I guess that's it for this video. Back to scratches for Buddy. So yeah, anyway, pretty happy with my big collection. And you know, it's kind of fun to see the evolution and kind of has on its own, you know, just by writing on and on and on. Maybe one day I'll do a video of what's inside of them and like the evolution even of my writing, which is funny because from the first book to the current one, you can still see that it's the same person writing. My writing looks a lot like it did 20 years ago. And I guess that's it for now. See you later. And cheers, somebody.